Let's solve this question here. So here's the picture of the question. So this is the legal size paper, 8.5 by 14 inches. And this piece here will be folded up here. And the question is asking you, right? Part A, show that c squared is equal to 2x cubed over 2x minus 8.5. So c is this side here in terms of x here, right? This side or this side. Part B, what's the domain of C? Part C, determine the x value that will minimize C. So this is an optimization problem. And finally, determine the minimum value of C. Okay, so let's start with part A, right? Show that c squared is equal to 2x cubed over 2x minus 8.5. So this diagram here is the same as this one here. But in this one here, I'm going to relabel this. Okay, so first of all, let me erase this. We know that this is 14 inches. Okay, now I will first draw another line here. And make this a dotted line. Okay, now this is another triangle. Let me label this. Let me label this corner A, this corner B, this corner E, and then this side here, BQ, let's call this F. And this corner here, let's call it D. Okay. Now, this triangle here is ABD or ADB, and this triangle here is BEQ. Okay. Now, we know that this side is X here, which is the same as this one here. And we also know what this side is because the full side here is 8.5 inches. And this piece here is X. Then what would be this length here? AD. What's length AD? It will be 8.5 minus X, right? That's AD, right? Okay, so here, we know that AD is equal to 8.5 minus X. Here. Now, we know that this is X and this is 8.5 minus X. What is the length of AB? We know that this is a right angle, right? It's a piece of paper. Then we can use the Pythagorean theorem, right? That means x squared minus this side square, which is 8.5 minus x squared. It will give me the length of AB, right? AB squared. So I can write this. AB squared is equal to x squared minus 8.5 minus x squared, right? And then take the square root of both sides to get AB. X squared minus 8.5 minus x squared, right? Square root of that. Okay, so if you expand this, you have AB equals to square root of x squared minus 72.25 minus 17x plus x squared. Okay, once you take out the bracket, the x squared and the x squared will cancel out, and this side here will flip. Okay, so AB is equal to square root of 17x minus 72.25. Okay, so that is the length of AB here. Now, we know the length of here, here, and here, right? So what should we do next? We will have to try to find out some similar triangles. Now let's look at this triangle here. Now, we know that this piece here is folded up here, right? So that means this angle here is the same as this angle here. Okay, so if I call this angle alpha, then this one should also be angle alpha. Then what is this angle here? We know that this full angle here is 180 degrees, right? Then this angle here must be 180 degrees minus alpha minus alpha. So it's 180 degree minus 2 alpha. Let's call this angle ADB, okay? This angle here, ADB. Yeah, angle ADB is equal to 180 degrees minus alpha, right? And that's equal to 180 degrees minus 2 alpha. Okay, now I can write this. This one is 180 degrees minus 2 alpha, right? Okay, now what's this angle here? We don't know. Let's call this beta. But we do know that all the inner angles inside a triangle would add up to 180 degrees. So 180 degrees minus 2 alpha plus 90 degrees plus beta is equal to 180 degrees. And we can say that 180 degrees minus 2 alpha plus 90 degrees plus beta is equal to 180 degrees. Okay, we know that if we move 180 degrees from this side to the left side and then move these numbers to the right side, of course the sides here will change, right? Then the 180 degrees will cancel out. All I have left is just 2 alpha minus 90 degrees minus beta is equal to 0. Now move the 90 degrees to the right side, right? Add 90 degrees to both sides. We have 2 alpha minus beta is equal to 90 degrees. Okay. Now, next, what should we look at? What's this angle here? Let's call this angle theta then. We do know that this angle here is 180 degrees. Now, this is beta, this is theta. What is this angle here? Okay, it's this piece here folded up here, right? So this angle here, which is 90 degrees, is this angle here, which is 90 degrees. Then we know that beta plus 90 degrees plus theta is equal to 180 degrees. We can write that beta plus 90 degrees plus theta is equal to 180 degrees. And of course, subtract 90 degrees from both sides. We have beta plus theta is equal to 90 degrees. Now, we have beta here, right? So we want to isolate beta here so that we can replace it into here. From here, beta is equal to 90 degrees minus theta. Now we can replace this into beta here. Now, 2 alpha minus beta is this. And that's equal to 90 degrees. Take out the bracket, we have 2 alpha minus 90 degrees plus theta is equal to 90 degrees. Now, add 90 degrees to both sides, we have 2 alpha plus theta equals to 180 degrees. Now, we want to find out what theta is equal to, right? So subtract 2 alpha from both sides. Theta is equal to 180 degrees minus 2 alpha. Okay, so this theta here is the same as this angle here, right? This angle here is 180 degrees minus 2 alpha. And we calculate that theta is also equal to 180 degrees minus 2 alpha. Okay, so if this is theta, this is also theta, right? Okay, now you can see that if this is 90 degrees, which is here, right? 90 degrees here too. And then this is theta, then if this is beta, and this is also beta, right? So triangle ABD and triangle BEQ are similar triangles. Okay, that's good now. Now, for triangle ABD, we know that this is x, this is 8.5 minus x, and this is equal to square root of 17x minus 72.25, right? Then we can use similar triangle to find out what f is, which is BQ, right? Because we know that this side here, EQ here, is just the same as this here, which is 8.5 inches. Then we should be able to find out what f is. And what's the point of finding out f? Because this is c here, we're trying to find, right? Actually c squared, but we can find c first, right? Or c squared right away. Okay, this is a right triangle. That's a 90-degree angle. So we know that c squared is equal to x squared plus f squared. So we want to find f in terms of x, because we want to show that c squared is equal to something in terms of x, right? Okay, so how do we find f using the similar triangles? Okay, so this triangle and this triangle, we know that this side, f, is corresponding to this side, x here. So f over x is equal to this side, EQ over AB. Okay, so where to find f? And I just said that f over x is equal to f over x is equal to EQ over AB. And EQ is 8.5, AB is square root of 17x minus 72.25. Okay, let me write this. Now, to find f, just multiply both sides by x. It will be 8.5x over square root of 17x minus 72.25. Okay, that's f. And I just said, right? Here, c squared is equal to x squared plus f squared because of the right angle here. It's a right triangle. So here, c squared is equal to x squared plus f squared, right? Now, x squared is already in terms of x. That's fine. And f is this, right? So this square. C squared is equal to x squared plus 8.5x over 17x minus 72.25 squared. Okay, so c squared is equal to x squared plus, now this square is 8.5, x squared is 72.25 x squared over, now this square, right, we'll just get rid of the square root, so it's 17x minus 72.25. Now the next thing is find the common denominator for this so that we can group this together. So I have to multiply a fraction of 17x minus 72.25 over 17x minus 72.25. C squared is equal to, now the numerator will become 17x cubed minus 72.25x squared over 17x minus 72.25 plus 72.25 x squared over 17x minus 72.25, right? Okay, so we can add this and this cancel out. All I have left just c squared is equal to 17x cubed over 17x minus 72.25, right? Now, looks like we can divide both the numerator and the denominator by 17, right? So you can see these are 17 over 17 times this x cubed over x minus 4.25. Now, this is just equal to 1. So we can see that as c squared equals to x cubed over x minus 4.25. Now, this is not exactly like what is asked in the question, right? They want us to show that c squared is equal to 2x cubed over 2x minus 8.5. No problem. Just multiply both sides by 2 over 2, right? So 2 over 2 c squared is equal to 2 over 2 times x cubed over x minus 4.25. Now, 2 over 2 is just equal to 1, so I'm not changing anything. So what I have is here, c squared is equal to, now the numerator become 2x cubed, and the denominator will become 2x minus 8.5. Okay, this is exactly what the question is asking us to show. So part A is done. Let's look at part B. Part B is asking, what is the domain of C? Okay, here. Part B. Notice that we have c squared equals to something. Let's take the square root of both sides to get c only, right? So c is equal to square root of, here, 2x cubed over 2x minus 8.5. Okay, now, in a fraction, right? If you take a square root of the entire fraction, it's also like taking a square root of the numerator and taking a square root of the denominator, right? So another way you can think of it like that is this. C is equal to square root of 2x cubed over square root of 2x minus 8.5, right? So another way you can see like this. But are they exactly the same? Not really. If both the numerator and the denominator are constants, then I guess they will be the same, right? This way. But if there's a variable in the numerator and the denominator, they are not necessarily the same. Now look at it this way. Let's look at the first one first, right? Here. Over here, what we have to make sure is the number under square root cannot be negative. And to get a positive number, right, the numerator and the denominator need to be both positive. Then this is a positive number. But if the numerator and the denominator are both negative, then this is also a positive number, right? That means x here can be 0 or less than 0, right? To make this a positive number. But here, the second one here, we have to look at this individually. The number under the square root cannot be less than 0, right? So the number under the square root cannot be negative because we're not talking about complex number here. Okay, now in that case here, x here can be 0 because it's a numerator, but it cannot be negative. This is a denominator, right? You cannot divide something by 0, so this cannot be 0. That means whatever that's under the square root cannot be 0 here. also cannot be negative. That means x cannot be less than 0 here too, right? So it's different here. In this situation, the first one here, x can be negative. But in this situation here, x cannot be negative. Okay, so they're not the same. Now, notice that when I take the square root here, right, I only take the positive square root. Why? Because this is c, right? And if you look at the original question here, c is psi, okay? Psi length. And the psi length has to be positive. Also, here, which one should we assume? The first function or the second function? Since they're not exactly the same. But think about it like that. X here cannot be negative, but x here can be negative. What is x here? X is this, right? In the original question, x is also a psi length. Here or here, right? Because psi length has to be positive. So, in that case, let's assume the second one, okay? This one. Now, let's find the domain of this one. Now, you have to look at this individually, right? Let's look at the numerator first. That means 2x cubed has to be greater than or equal to 0 because the numerator can be 0 anyway. Okay. Divide both sides by 2 and then take the cube root of that, where x is greater than or equal to 0. Okay, let's draw a number line here. Okay, here, this is 0. Since x can include 0, so I will draw a solid dot here. So greater than or equal to 0. So this way, right? Yeah. So this region here. Now, we also have to look at the denominator. But the denominator cannot be 0. So that means 2x minus 8.5 has to be greater than 0. Okay, so I would say that 2x minus 8.5 has to be greater than 0, right? Now, 2x is greater than 8.5. Divide both sides by 2, x is greater than 4.25. Okay, I will draw a number line again. Okay, so the middle is 0, right? So 4.25 is here, right? Okay, now x has to be greater than 4.25. That means it does not include 4.25. So I will draw open circle here, right? It doesn't include 4.25. And it's this region here, right? Okay, now to find the domain of this function, I have to find a region that satisfies both situations. Okay, in the first one, anything including 0 or greater is part of it. But in the second, which is the denominator, right? It has to be greater than 4.25. So the common region really is after the 4.25, right? So even this region here doesn't count, okay? The domain for this function is 4.25 to positive infinity. Now, this bracket here does not include the 4.25. Okay, so that is part B. Now, let's look at part C. Determine the x value that minimize C. Okay, so now, how do we do that? So we will use this function here. This one here. We will have to take the derivative of C with respect to x, right? And then set it equal to 0 to find the x value that will minimize C. Okay, so let's do it here. So part C, let me rewrite this. C is equal to square root of 2x cubed over square root of 2x minus 8.5. That's also equal to 2x cubed, right? To the power of 1 over 2 divided by 2x minus 8.5 to the power of 1 over 2. And over here, this is equal to square root of 2x to the power of 3 over 2 over 2x minus 8.5 to the power of 1 over 2. Okay. Since it's a function divided by another function, to take the derivative, we have to use the quotient rule. Now, let's recall what the quotient rule is. That will be f prime at x times g at x minus g prime at x times f at x, all divided by g at x squared, right? Okay, so first of all, let's find the derivative of this function first, which is g at x in this case, right? So here, let me do this. Let me let g equals to this here. 2x minus 8.5 to the power of 1 over 2, right? Now, since this is a function inside another function to the power of 1 over 2, we have to use the chain rule. So I will let u equals to, inside here, 2x minus 8.5. Then g is equal to u to the power of 1 over 2, right? Because this is equal to u now. Now, take the derivative of u with respect to x. We have du over dx is equal to 2. Next, take the derivative of g with respect to u. So that will be dg over du. That will be 1 over 2 times u to the power of 1 over 2, but negative. Okay. That's the same as 1 over 2 times square root of u. And u is equal to 2x minus 2.5. We have to put it back in here. So that's equal to 1 over 2 times square root of 2x minus 8.5. Now, to find dg over dx, which is this, that's equal to dg over du times du over dx according to the chain rule, right? When du and du cancel out, you have dg over dx left, right? dg over du is this, right? 1 over 2 times 2x minus 8.5 times du over dx is 2. And of course, right? The 2 and the 2 cancel out. All I have left is 1 over square root of 2x minus 8.5. So that's the derivative of the bottom function here. Okay. And what's the derivative of this one here? Okay. So the derivative of square root of 2x to the power of 3 over 2, right? That would be 3 over 2 times square root of 2x. Now 3 over 2 minus 1 would be 1 over 2. And that would be 3 over square root of 2 times x to the power of 1 over 2. Okay. Now, let's put everything into here. So we have derivative of c with respect to x. And that's equal to, now, the first function, derivative of the first function, which is this, right? 3 over square root of 2 times x to the power of 1 over 2 times the second function, which is this. Minus derivative of the bottom function, which is this, or this. Okay, that is equal to times the first function, which is this. All divided by the bottom function square, which is this square. Okay, so here. Now, we know that this will be a fraction. So to group this together, I have to find the common denominator with this one here, right? So I have to multiply a fraction of square root of 2x minus 8.5, right? Over square root of 2x minus 8.5. So the top here will give me just 2x minus 8.5, right? Divide by here, square root of 2x minus 8.5 minus here, square root of 2 times x to the power of 3 over 2 over square root of 2x minus 8.5, right? Of course, all this thing divided by this, right? So this is exactly equal to 2x minus 8.5. Let me write the equal sign in the middle. Okay. Now, let's set this equal to 0 to find the x value that will give the minimum value of c. Of course, if you multiply both sides by 2x minus 8.5, so this will be gone. And then you can group this together. Okay, so 0 is equal to, now, let's group this together. So let's multiply this together, right? So that will be 3 times square root of 2, right? Because this and this will cancel out to square root of 2. Now, x to the power 1 over 2 times x is x to the 3 over 2 minus this times this will give me, okay, so let's see it this way. 8.5 is a and 1/2, right? And that is 17 over 2. So if I multiply this by 3 over square root of 2, right? Let's do this. And that would give me 51 over 2 times square root of 2, right? So minus 51 over 2 times square root of 2, x to the power of 1 over 2. And I don't need this anymore. Now, minus square root of 2, right? X to the power of 3 over 2. All divided by, here, square root of 2x minus 8.5, right? Because this is gone, right? After you move it to the left side. Okay, notice that this and this are like terms. So 3 times square root of 2 minus square root of 2 is just 2 times square root of 2, right? So 0 is equal to, okay, here again, multiply both sides by square root of 2x minus 8.5, then this will be gone. So only this part left, okay? So this minus this is 2 times square root of 2, x to the power of 3 over 2 minus 51 over 2 times square root of 2, x to the power of 1 over 2. Okay, now, that is the same as 2 times square root of 2 x to the 3 over 2 equals to 51 over 2 times square root of 2 times x to the power of 1 over 2. Multiply both sides by 2 times square root of 2, right? So that we can remove the denominator here. Then this times square root of 2 is a. X to the power 3 over 2 is equal to 51 times x to the power of 1 over 2. Now, divide both sides by x to the power of 1 over 2. It's like this. Of course, this and this cancel out. So this divided by this will give you just x, right? So ax is equal to 51. Now, x is equal to 51 over a. Now, if you want to write this in decimal, right, that's equal to 6.375. So this is the x value that will give the minimum length of C. So part C is done. Okay, now part D. Determine the minimum value of C. That will be easy. Here, part D. How do we calculate that? Just put this into the x value of the equation, right? Then you get C. So what was the equation? This one here, right? Just put 6.375 into x here, and you'll get the minimum value of C. Okay, so here. C is equal to square root of 2x cubed over square root of 2x minus 8.5, right? And then just put 6.375 into x here. So 2 times 6.375 square, right? Over here, 2 times 6.375 minus 8.5. And that will give you approximately equal to 11.041a. And that is the minimum value of C. Okay, so I solved all 4 parts of the question. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you.